Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide. Hello, Sheena. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Hello, Curvicality family. Happy holidays, Sheena Jones. Thank you for joining us. I am your ambassador, Latoya Nicole, and I am here with book author Dion of the newly published, or shall I say famously published books, Right On Girl and Right On Boy. Hello, Jill. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for joining us this evening. Also, thank you, Sheena Jones, for the shout out. We thank you for joining us. So, Jill, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, hi. My name is Jillian Bradfield. On social media, I go by Jill Dion. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised, really born in Atlanta, raised in College Park. And I started writing children's books about 5 years ago. Because I wanted to reach children that dealt with anxiety and depression like I did growing up. So far, I've published 4 guided journals for kids. And now they're for girls and boys. And I recently published one for kids ages 4 to 8. And it's for girls or boys. It's a gender neutral book. I went to Savannah State University. For undergrad, product of Atlanta Public School System. I graduated from Frederick Douglass High School. I like to always, put that out there. And so that's just a little bit about me.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Shout out to our editor-in-chief and founder, Mary Beth Cooper. Mary Beth said hello.
Hi, Mary Beth.
So those are some really great accomplishments that you just, listed for our viewing audience. And I'm happy that you wrote some books geared toward children, of course, and they are pertaining to the topic of anxiety. I myself suffer from anxiety. Pretty much, I got diagnosed, though, with anxiety when I turned 21. So mine was triggered later on. I had my first anxiety attack at 21. And it was around the time when I was going to the University of Alabama, Birmingham. And I was pretty stressed out. That's a really hard school to attend. And it was finals, and I had just really been stressed out. Also, just had experienced a traumatic breakup. My first love, it's really detrimental. So, just breaking up with my first love, finals on the way. Me and my mom's relationship was not the best at the time, if I'm just being transparent. I had lost the big V. She was disappointed in me, of course. So it was a lot of pressure. She wasn't speaking. So just had a combination of all of that. And that triggered my anxiety. And I had to start, taking some anxiety pills at the time to just really help it. But again, mine is more, my onset happens when I'm really stressed out. And but nowadays kids have a lot of stress. So I'm happy that you tackled that. We are talking about wellness and health, guys, and mental health. So thank you, Jill, for just, writing that book. So if you would, can we start with Right On Girl? Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine.
So tell us, what outside of anxiety, what are some of the main topics that you feature in that book?
Some of the other topics that I touch on in Right On Girl are like, anxiety. I touch on career goals. What do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years? I touch on self-love. Name 10 things that you love about yourself. I talk about sex. in the month of September. So I always tell my parents before they purchase it,
Mm,
if they're purchasing it in person, I let them know, hey, flip to September. I'm talking about sex, not in graphic detail, but just in a big sister kind of way. Like, hey, just to let you know, you're not ready for something like that at this age. It deals with more than just being physical. It also deals with your mind and your body and
mm.
your spirit. Um, you know, I deal with all those types of topics.
It does. Once you're into that realm of physical intimacy, it's like a marriage, and
Hmm.
if you're a Christian, it basically is. But it's pretty much like your souls become intertwined with each other. And I think when you're young, you don't really look at it from that perspective. You look at it more so like it's just, oh, I'm getting this physical gratification. Whereas it's more, sorry, it has a more deeper meaning than that. It's like you become emotionally tied as well as spiritually tied to this person. And the spiritual aspect of it is that you can feel this other person when they're not around. Also that their habits can become yours and vice versa. And then too, if you think about it, if you smell a particular perfume or cologne that reminds you of that person, your mind is going to instantly go back to that person and the experience of them. Also, songs can remind you of a particular person too. So you just have to always keep that in mind. So once you do enter that realm of physical intimacy, you're inviting a lot of other things to enter into your life, and some things you may not be ready for or you may not be mature for. So I
Right.
think that's great that you're tackling that.
Right. And to piggyback on that, when I speak to girls, um, I was trying to find a good way to tackle that because the way it was taught to me was just don't do it. Don't do it,
Yeah.
don't do it, don't do it. And clearly that's not working anymore with,
Mhm.
girls today. Back then when I was growing up. So when I was talking to a younger cousin of mine, I explained it to her like this. You're not ready for sex
Mhm.
because there are grown women out here my age slashing tires, keying cars, breaking windows just from having sex with someone
Yeah.
in their 30s, 40s, and 50s sometimes.
Mhm.
So what makes you think being in your teens, early teens, that you're ready for that type of emotion? And then he don't even have nothing to damage. He's in school. So it's like, not saying you want to do that, but you're not emotionally prepared to handle something like that at that age. Women my age aren't. So why
Mhm.
play with it? You know, like,
And I'm happy that you said that because when you think about it again, and if I'm going to be transparent again, a friend of mine and I were, speaking on this. When you get some really good sex, some really good bomb sex, and mm, yeah, it's
yeah.
like crack. It's like crack. I'm just being honest. So it's
I don't know if I
addictive.
go that far, but
Well, it
if
depends
you
on your
really like,
sexual.
care about them, if they made you feel a certain way or whatever,
Well, for now,
it's
for
harder to get over them.
some people, it's addictive. I'm just being honest, and it can cause those emotions to erupt that you don't, because some people become, you got to think about it, whereas you and I may be like, okay, some people can become obsessive,
Yeah.
and drug addiction is a form of obsession. And for some people, sex is a drug, because you have to think about it, some people are sex addicts.
That's
And what
true.
does an addict do? An addict exemplifies obsessive disorders or obsessive behavior, obsessive compulsive behavior, excuse me, behavior. So that's the reason why I was saying some people, it is like crack or heroin or cocaine, and thus when they don't get it or that person cuts off that emotional attachment,
Oh
then they
yeah.
do things that are volatile, such as slashing tires, keying cars, or things of
Breaking
basically
windows.
physical harm to the actual person that caused this hurt to enter into their heart. So you do have to think about it from that perspective, and that's the reason why I'm happy you kind of tackled it in that book, because kids, neither long adults, are not ready for that. Some are not, just at the
Right.
end of the day. Do you mind showing the cover of the book?
Sure. No
Thank you.
problem at all. This is I think it's oh, it's not backwards, but this is the
Okay, that's so
cover.
cute.
Thank you.
Right on, girl. And I like the fact that you said you tell the young ladies write down 10 things. So and you said 10 things what now that
10
they love
things that you love
about
about
themselves?
yourself. And
Right.
before COVID, I was doing face to face journal workshops with girls. That is the hardest exercise for girls, and it
But
broke
I
my
love
heart.
it.
It broke my heart. They can name 10 things that they liked about themselves.
And that's sad because honestly, I probably would have a hard time now, and I'm 44. So yeah, I can only imagine when you're young and you have a lot of insecurities and your bodies are changing. I would think it would be a little difficult, but I'm happy that you're doing those workshops. Are you doing them now, or will you pick those back up if not?
I attempted to do them virtually during COVID last year.
Okay.
It kind of worked. I did like one or two. They turned out okay, but it's something about meeting in person,
Yeah.
that connection. But the good thing with doing it virtually was I had girls in the Zoom. One was in London,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one was over here. And they were dealing with some of the same things. And so they were able to interact with one another. She would have never been able to meet her, you know, in another, you know,
Another
time.
country.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that worked, bringing
That,
girls
that's
together from
amazing.
all over. Yeah, bringing girls together from all over that are dealing with the same things.
You know what I think would be cool? Do you ever host these at libraries?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
would think it would be cool if you had a virtual and physical one. Like if you had the virtual setup and they could interact, virtually with the girls that are there. And again, have girls from different countries. And I think that's really cool. Like you had somebody from London talking with girls from the United States and then like Africa and other areas. And they can say at the end of the day, although we live in different countries, our battles or
Yeah,
our challenges are the same.
that
We
would
have
be
a
amazing.
commonality.
That is a great idea. I never thought about combining
Mhm.
the two, but yeah, that's
Yes,
a
ma'am.
really good idea.
Hmm. And I think you would and you could benefit from that, and then from that just grow and grow. And I
Mhm.
have a consulting firm, people, for those one ideas. I'm just playing, but I think that would be a really great idea for I think that would be something great, and who knows, one day it could turn into a conference.
I want to
Mhm.
do that. That is something I want to do, and I don't
Mhm.
think COVID's going away anytime soon. So I'm gonna have to find a way
It's
to
not. So you're gonna
make
have
it
to
work.
find, yeah, you're gonna have to find some creative ways to make it. And I think right now, before it could possibly get bad, I think you probably and look while the kids are out of school,
Yeah.
go to a library and ask them, hey, can I host this right quick? Just try to see for the next couple of weeks while they're out.
Mhm.
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 And do a virtual one and do it, do it up, do it big, and just yeah, I think that'd be cool and have some bean bags and they sip on some cocoa or something and they
That
just
would
talk.
be cute. I didn't think about that type of setup. Usually, in the library, it's just we're sitting at tables and chairs. But it would be cute to set up like a comfortable, safe space for
I
girls
guess
to sit down
I
and.
know, and I know every state is different, but I know in Birmingham, in particular, Alabama, certain libraries having like certain because I'm a school teacher, guys, and I
Mhm.
noticed like of course like the language arts or the reading teachers sometimes they may have bean bags and they may have like a reading station for kids, and I remember this other school, and this is when I finished grad school. And I went and subbed at this elementary for the spring, and she had a reading cafe, and she had like a little cappuccino machine in the corner and bean bags and a little library where the kids could go over and read. And I think that'd be like something really cool.
Yeah, I had a teacher, a language arts teacher in middle school. I swear, we still talk about her today. She had her room set up like an apartment. She had like little rugs and little dim lights,
Exactly.
and she had
Exactly.
music playing. I swear I decorate the
Mhm.
way I decorate now because of her. It was just
Exactly.
very
See?
comfortable. It was just her room was like a safe space
Mm-hmm.
for us.
Exactly. Now, see, Sheena said, yes, safe place. I do this with my son who has autism. Oh,
Hmm.
wow. Thank you for sharing that, Sheena. And
Mhm.
that's why I was saying get the kids comfortable and, just have like a safe space where they can open up and just really just be like really open. And so, since Sheena brought that up, so let's talk about Right On Boy. Does
Okay.
it do the same thing? Do you mind holding up the cover for our viewing
Yeah.
audience?
Sure. Yeah. No problem at all. This is right on boy.
Okay, that's
This is right
nice.
on boy. I came up with right on boy because, of course, all the moms of boys were like, "Where's their book?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know what it was like to be an adolescent boy. Hold on, let me research." So after I did some research, I created right on boy, and it mirrors right on girl, but there were some topics that I had to touch on for young boys that I wouldn't necessarily, maybe not, maybe today, yeah, back when I wrote it, I wouldn't necessarily think to write about them for boys. But before the Rayshard Brooks or anything like that, I published this book and I put a section in there dedicated to boys, asking them, what would you do if you were approached by the police? Would you run?
Hmm.
Why or why not? You know, what would your decision be? What do you think the outcome of that decision would be? What would you do if somebody introduced you to drugs? What would you do if somebody, like, these are real questions that our boys need to be thinking about.
Mm-hmm. And you know, it's amazing how the challenges are different for a young man versus a young lady. See, with the
Hmm.
young ladies, we instantly talked about our bodies, and loving ourselves in sexual activity. Whereas with the guys, we're talking about police. You know, we're talking about them dealing with police brutality. If it escalates to that, also drug use.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Also, really drastic. You know, on the spectrum,
Yeah, I
how
talk about sex with them too. That topic is in there as well,
okay.
because I didn't want to just talk about it with girls and not talk about it with boys, because boys are victims too of, you
Mhm.
know, sexual abuse and people approaching them and thinking, oh, you're a boy, you're just supposed to be ready, you know, to have sex. It's something you're supposed to like, no matter how early of an age or whatever. So I just wanted to touch on that with them, and express to them, it's your body too. You know, just because someone
Okay.
finds you attractive or anything like that doesn't mean you have to do it.
I know that's right. So tell us a little bit about your upcoming work that
Hmm.
you have for Curvicality Magazine. So tell us about the articles that Mary Beth um, is more than eager to have you write for our publication.
So yeah, I wanted to venture out and do some different things. I do write children's books, but I do enjoy writing about different things. I'm starting like a new venture, looking into modeling and acting, just playing around with some things that interest me. And so I reached out to Mary Beth, and she said, "What about you writing a column for the online magazine about petite plus size women? Because that is exactly what I am. And it's a unique challenge for petite plus size women. Um, one, being plus size is a challenge. Two, being short
Mhm.
and plus size is a challenge. And because nobody really knows what it is, when you look it up, it's like, what is it? And then some people don't even know what it is, because people see petite as small,
They
like
do.
slim, and it is not. I'm here to tell you, but petite is short, small in stature. I'm 5'2". I'm
I'm
considered
5'3".
small. So it's like when you buy pants, what does it say on the pants? Petite, because it's for short people. So that's, petite is short. And then there's a plus side of it. Anything like 12, size 12 and up. I have
Mhm.
been a 12. I have been a 28. I have been every part of the plus size spectrum. So it's like I
Wow.
wanted to write about the experience of being a petite, curvy woman, and also being a petite, curvy woman attempting to maneuver this modeling thing right now.
Mhm.
That's been a.
It's tough. I know and to me, I'm just being honest. I have been modeling for 21 years now, professionally,
Mm,
and I can tell you that as of right now, it's better. You have more opportunities than you did before. Because when I started out modeling professionally in 2000, to be exact, there were not a lot of opportunities if you were petite. I am
mm-hmm.
5'3", So the only thing I really could do was print. I did some runway, not a lot. And the runway shows I did do were limited. They were
Yeah.
like hair shows and like some college shows. But I would usually get turned down for like departments, like department stores and things of that nature for the runway. Now, however, I would get cast for like print. And even sometimes in print, it's pretty strict. They're looking for someone 5'9" and taller. If
Crazy.
you're 5'8", I'm sorry, if you're 5'6" and you're more on the slim side, they could possibly let you squeak by, or so to say, because when you put the heels on, you're gonna look a little bit more taller and lean. But it wasn't always the case. So with me being curvy, I was a size 8 at the time, and sometimes my weight would fluctuate 9, 10, but mostly a size 8. I was more so that curvy pinup chick, and I
Mm,
was calendar and pinup and more so like swimsuit model and things of that nature. And then like I would do urban wear. So, I could do like urban, because mostly urban they will be more flexible, more people of color, they don't mind a more full figured curvy woman.
right.
So I could do some print, more so print with clothing ads for them versus more so mainstream. So,
Right.
but now the rules are being broken, they're being torn down, they're changing. So now there are more opportunities. Plus size modeling back then versus now is vast, because back then you could only do Lane Bryant or
Oh
like
God, yeah.
or
Nothing
Kath.
against it, right? But it's like it's more. You have more opportunities.
Right, because with Catherine's and Lane Bryant, to be honest, when you're 21 and 22 years old, and those clothes look very mature back then. They look for your mother and your grandmother and your aunt. Now they've changed, but again, it was really limited. And Fashion Bug was like the thing back then, and
I
Rave,
remember
mhm,
fashion.
Rave and Fashion Bug and those things that like, which is Kato's, which is on by, and
Yep.
Kato's was just, it
Stuart
was
Plus.
Kato's on that. But yeah, so those were just kind of those were more so those were your options, just to be honest. I see someone say the standards have lowered. I wouldn't necessarily say
Who
lowered.
said
I
that?
would say more so I would say lowered. I would say that they're being more open minded.
Yeah, definitely not
'Cause,
lowered.
yeah, I would say, because if you say lower, then it means like
That
I'm
sounds
body
negative.
shaming. I'm body
That's,
shaming
yeah.
that
That
person.
sounds
So
like I'm just letting anybody come, and that's not. I mean,
right.
you still have to have a skill. You still have to have talent. It's just it's opening up the door for human beings, like people with different shapes, different sizes, and different height. What I don't understand is how you can be a clothing brand that sells clothes for short people but won't let short people model them.
Yeah.
Doesn't make
Well,
any sense.
that's the reason why they say, she said Lord as in lingerie for play. Okay. All right. Okay. So thank you for clarifying. But even then, I wouldn't say that either. I would not say the word lowered. I would just say they've opened doors. I would just put it like that. Right, right. I would just say opening doors, because at the
Right,
end of the day, you don't want to body shaming. You don't want to fall into that category. You always want to be open minded and just. But as far as just placing you in a sexual matter, okay, I get what you're saying. Even with that, and I think, and I pray, in some of your articles, which we'll talk about with the plus size community and plus size women in particular. You know how guys will be like, you don't want to be a fetish. You don't want to say, "Oh, you're
yeah.
a fat girl," and then they don't want to take you out publicly, but they don't mind doing things with you privately.
My
And then
favorite half. I try not to cuss, but my favorite half-ass compliment
mhm,
that I would get. You have such a pretty face.
right,
And I'm like, that's really backhanded. I used to get that a lot growing up because it's, mole or whatever. And, whatever I was cute or whatever. And it's like, you have such a pretty face. But it's like, what about the rest of me?
mhm.
Um, and people don't realize it, but that's really offensive.
It is offensive. That's the same thing. Like, and I used to get, and I live in Alabama, of course. And Alabama has gotten much, much better. It's not what it used to be. It has a ways to go. But I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood. I'm from Bessemer, which is 30 minutes outside of Birmingham.
Heard of this
It's
one.
it's in the. You say you know about Bessemer?
I've heard of this one.
Okay, it's in the Birmingham metropolitan area. I'm from Bessemer in a little community called Muskota, and I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood, but I went to a predominantly white school. I went to
Hmm.
McAdory kindergarten through 12th grade. Sometimes I would be the only African American or black female in the class, or sometimes it would be two or three. If I had two or three black people in the class with me, that was like, whoa, okay, cool. Whereas at home, I'm surrounded by nothing but black people. But I would get backhand comments, growing up like, oh wow, her mom really dresses her really nice. Like they wasn't expected for black people to be dressed nice. And I never forget, it was picture day. I think I was maybe in kindergarten or first grade, probably kindergarten. And I remember I was surrounded by the lunchroom ladies. They said, wow, she's dressed so pretty. I wonder if she clean underneath. And they lift my dress up. And they was like, "Oh wow, she has on ruffled panties." Yeah, my mom wasn't too happy about
That
that.
is a whole
Hmm.
case.
Yeah, well, nowadays they would be fired and filed as yeah, as child
You're like a pedophile.
yeah,
Yeah. That's
pedophile, yeah,
terrible.
sex offender, yeah. But that happened to me when I was a little kid. Also, you know, you're pretty for a black girl. Like black people don't supposed to be pretty.
Yep.
So you're not supposed to be attractive. So I don't like those backhand comments, and I
Yep.
would call people out about it. Like, can I just be pretty? Because when you do those backhand comments, you're putting a limit
Yeah.
on this person, saying, okay, they don't supposed to be attractive, but this person is attractive
Tell
to be
me if you ever
fat or
got this.
black or whatever.
Right. Tell me if
Mhm.
you ever got this one because you're educated, you're all of the above, pretty, whatever. Have you ever been complimented? You are so well spoken.
I have, and to be
That
honest,
annoys me to no end. I got that like 2 years ago.
I don't feel
I'm
like
grown
I
now.
articulate for the occasion. I put it like that. I articulate well when I'm speaking or when I'm in class publicly, but when of course, like we all do, when we're talking amongst friends, you're gonna speak slang. You're gonna let your diction drop. You're gonna sound like yourself. I feel like I have a black scent no matter what.
Yeah.
Ebonics will slip out.
Being
It's
from
just
the South.
yeah, just being from the South. I
Yeah.
don't I don't sound like someone that lives in another region of the United States. However, I think I can speak when spoken, or I can speak well enough to sound educated.
Hey.
But I feel like my accent is heavy, and I feel like it comes through no matter what. Whereas I have some friends that articulate so well, and if you were to like cut the lights off in a room, you wouldn't be able to tell what race they are or what nationality they are or what region of the United States they're from, because they are just articulate. It's just a standard, beautiful articulation and fluctuation of their voice. Whereas with me, even if you didn't see me, you'd be like, okay, well that's a black woman. I mean, because I have that black scent even in there. You can still tell I'm black at the end of the day. Because I remember when I dated a Caucasian guy when I was younger, and I called and to have to speak to his mom. His mom was like, "Is she white?" She she asked him that. So again, you can tell I'm black. I just think I'm well spoken, but you can tell I'm black. So yeah, so so is there anything, oh, can I share your website for those that would
Yeah.
like to?
Sure.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
I am going to share your website so our reviewing audience can see where to purchase your books, if that's fine.
If you see me constantly looking away, I have a dog and a cat, and they wait until I'm doing something and can't get
You're
to them to just
fine.
wreak havoc in the house.
Okay, I'm going to pull up your book. Let's see.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. I'm going to pull up the website so they can see your book.
And while you're doing that, I just want to thank Mary Beth for the opportunity to write on this topic, to write about being a curvy plus size woman and what that means and the trials and tribulations we go through, where it be with fashion, modeling, acting, daily life. So just thank you so much, Mary Beth. Oh, man.
Yay.
Sorry.
Very fast. Do
Yay.
you guys see your website? Jilly Bean Books. Do you
That
see
is
it?
my website where
You
my
see it?
books can be purchased.
Okay. So here, guys, as you can see, you have Right On Girl. We're gonna do a quick view, and then we have Right On Boy, a fun critical thinking journal for adolescent boys. And we also have the Quarantine. I like that. A 52-week guided journal to help teens escape and conquer their anxiety. So those are pretty neat.
Thank you.
hmm And here we are. And then let's see the first book. It's Big Book, okay? A little big book of feelings for
Yeah,
kids.
that's the one for the babies.
Okay, for the babies. All right, so we have 4 books right here that you guys can go on the jellybean.com website and purchase. Jellybeanbooks.com. And then she has a bundle pack. How much is the bundle pack?
It is $35.99.
Okay, so guys, you can get all 4 books for $35.99. I think that's amazing. Well, Jill, I've enjoyed interviewing you, and I think that our reviewing audience really enjoyed listening to your message and just, sharing your books and their messages and the themes. And I think those are really universal themes that we all can benefit from no matter what age. So, parents, again, if you would like to purchase these books, and I'm going to put the website in our chat so that our viewing audience can purchase those.
Thank you.
Mhm. I just put it in the chat. So you guys can click on the link and you can purchase those books, Right On Girl, Right On Boy, the Anxiety Guided Journal, and the Little Big Book for our little ones. Or you all can purchase the bundle pack for $35.99. So again, thank you, Jill. I've enjoyed you, and I look forward to reading your articles in Curvicality Magazine, and
Thank
just
you.
and not only the more books that you produce for us. So I've enjoyed this segment, guys. Stay tuned. We will have our Curvicality Christmas. What are you thankful for? Featuring some of our plus size models within the plus size community. That will happen at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. I'm your ambassador, Latoya Nicole, and thank you for joining us. Bye.